failure, failure, and another failure. And then suddenly this and this. In 2015, SpaceX landed a rocket successfully for the very first time. Then it made news. Today, it has become so routine that nobody pays attention anymore. So I checked, and on September 10, they had clocked 177 launches, 175 mission successes, and maybe most remarkably, they have reflown boosters 113 times. How is this possible for a newcomer who just 14 years ago had zero track record? I'm Christian Schuh, the host of Procurement in the Park. My Profit from the Source co-authors and I give clear advice on how to challenge assumptions on lead times. And it can be found within our book's third building block, how your company's supplier ecosystem needs to change, and in our ninth recommendation, go twice as fast. From the perspective of NASA, the magnitude of SpaceX's achievement as a supplier can only be fully appreciated compared to their competitor. That competitor is an aerospace company with nearly a century of experience as a defense contractor. That competitor not only had vastly more experience, but also far greater funding from NASA when competing for the Commercial Crew Program. Yet, while SpaceX has already flown 4 crews to the International Space Station, their competitor lags far behind, and it is scheduled to fly a crew for the first time in September 2023 to be precise. And let's not forget that SpaceX is providing both the rocket and the capsule, while the competitor is relying on the trusted Atlas V rocket. And now history appears to repeat itself. For its program to return to the Moon and go to Mars afterwards, NASA is again relying to a large extent on established aerospace and defense contractors. Their SLS, that still has to be flown for the very first time, is so far behind schedule and so far above budget that its viability is seriously questioned. And all of this while it is largely just reusing trusted components from the space shuttle. One launch of SLS is projected to cost about $2 billion. And here is Elon Musk with a wild claim. He hints at the cost of SpaceX's super heavy launch system called Starship of just $2 million. And all of this with a similar or even superior payload. Now, even if Elon Musk is off by a factor of 10 or a factor of 100, Starship would still make SLS obsolete in an instant. Sure, by the time you are watching this video, SLS may already have flown while Starship still needs to prove that it can reach orbit. But still, it makes sense to look into why different suppliers to NASA reach so vastly different results. We have a lot of examples on this on the book, but it really boils down to a difference in mindset. At SpaceX, we have the Silicon Valley startup culture of the late 90s and early 2000s at work. They challenge conventional wisdom, ask the right questions, build minimum viable products and iterate them quickly. As we have seen in the intro, they test these iterations frequently, and if the results are not as expected, they see this as an additional data point and not as a failure. Contrast this with traditional aerospace companies. Their forerunners may have behaved like this decades ago, in World War II, at the beginning of the Cold War, and certainly in the space race of the 1950s and 1960s. But since then, they've become risk-averse, conservative and bureaucratic. And who knows, maybe 50 years from now, SpaceX will have become a risk-averse, conservative and bureaucratic institution. But right now, they are on track to making going to orbit as commonplace as crossing the Atlantic Ocean on an airliner. And NASA and all the other customers are benefiting greatly from their ever-increasing capabilities and ever-decreasing cost. So I guess the question you could ask yourself is, how can we help develop a supplier with the mindset of SpaceX, a supplier that revolutionizes the way we do business? In the next video, I'll focus on the 10th and final of the book's key recommendations that will transform your business. Still interested? Then subscribe to my channel. Bye!